Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone's well, in best of health, in best of state, as you guys watch this next episode on the pursuit for meaning. So this episode, I would like to do like a little like discussion about the truth about truth. Is it worth chasing after, or is it something that we can simplify? I mean, it's pretty jam-packed content right there, or title. And what is this whole thing about? The truth is something that we all seek after. We are seeking for some sort of reality to our life. Every human being, as we were reading one of the books before, that every human being will go through this moment in their life, which will be asking themselves, like, why am I here? What am I doing here? And this is the ultimate truth. And to answer this question is something which every human being faces, and somehow every human being either finds the answer to it or is in search of the answer to it, but that sometimes also they don't think about it anymore. These things comes like an anxiety. And one of the things about the truth is that it forces you to change when it reaches you. Think about it, like for example, if you were to walk on this road, you will certainly die. you know like you had three roads to choose, and then you had to go through one, two, or three. The third road for sure will tell you, you have seen it clearly in front of your eyes, that if you do it, you will certainly die. Most people will not go to that road. Most people will refrain from the road. So the truth of something, knowing something, usually shifts or changes us to choose differently. And this is one of the pursuits that human being face. The reality is that we as a human species are going through different experiences. Everyone is going through different experiences. Everyone is born in different environments. Everyone is born in different families, different backgrounds, different financial status. All of this affects how we look and how we experience truth. The person who is born rich, who is living in an environment where he does not have to think about financial problems, will experience truth differently from a person who does not have the same thing. The person who comes from a different religious background also will affect his experience of truth. Everyone will come to a moment of their life, will ask themselves, what am I believing in? Is this true? Is this not true? And why is it important? Is because without having such questions, without having the ability to answer such questions, we will live in a huge emptiness. And this emptiness we can see when we look out in the world today. The emptiness is real. We are living in a society where people are there are alcoholism it is highest. We see people are taking psychiatric drugs. Its highest peak. The Prozac society. People are taking drugs off the counter, from the streets. Why do people take this? Why do people take all of these drugs? It's basically to drink, is to escape. They want to escape the reality they are in. They want to escape the moments that they can't feel secured with themselves. People have many different reasons why. Some people who drink this, yeah, I like the taste. I sometimes find it weird to say that. Because you see people, like, when they drink shots, it doesn't look like they're enjoying the time at all. People take on drugs, psychiatric drugs especially. You look at them, and then they are unable to respond you well. They are in a different zone. And when they take on the drugs of the streets, like, and all those kind of other drugs, they same reality is that they are escaping something. And one of the great men of this time, spiritual masters of our time, Shaykh Abdul Qadir, he said that human beings uh, is in need of drugs. So human beings are in need of something to quench their reality. And there's two kinds of drugs. There's drugs that you can take off the counters and on the streets, and the drug of the remembrance of Allah. Or you can also put it, a person who is finding his purpose, who has found the purpose in their life. And this purpose cannot come just because you inherit it. the truth must come from yourself. You must discover it. You must be able to question everything. And why do we want to question? People sometimes they don't tell you things like don't question so much. Why you want to question so much things. And the reality is when you don't question, you are unable to find the answer, because the answer will further cement the things that you believe in. When you put yourself in the environment or the shooting range of questions and challenges the thoughts and the beliefs that you have, and when you overcome them and you see the reality for what it is, that's where it becomes firmer, it becomes stronger. But if you don't take on that effort, if you don't attempt to challenge ourselves in the perspectives that we believe, then we will just be conformists. And one of the great people of our society, the great spiritual masters, the great scholar of our time, of the Islamic experience, was Imam Ghazali. He was a non-conformist. He did not want to accept the positions of the status quo. He wanted to question everything. And one of the very amazing statements that he did was that he said that he put Islam as a central pillar in his life. And that what was a pillar? It was the belief in Allah, the belief in God, all of these core beliefs. And what he did was he tied himself to that pillar. And then he went to every field of knowledge. He went to astronomy, he went to psychology, he went to philosophy, he went to all of the different thoughts or experiments, I would say, human thoughts, and went into there and experienced it fully, because he wanted to understand what was on the other side. And then when he went there, he saw that he couldn't answer. And then what was amazing for him was that he had a moment of his life of an internal crisis. And his crisis was that he could not answer a question, a riddle. It's amazing if you think about it. Like, not being able to solve a question in his life. This man was so serious about life. He was so serious about being in truth. He was not just a follower, but he wanted to ensure that he knew what he was believing in. He wanted to make sure that he was really what he believed in was true. And because of this searching, he went into a crisis because he couldn't solve one of the answers. And at a moment, he got his answer through a light, he said. He had a light, experiential knowledge that answered all of his questions. And this is what the truth is. There are moments in our life where we ask these questions, and when we find these questions, when we challenge it and we ask ourselves honestly and put ourselves in situations where it might be uncomfortable. And then when you push it and push it, not because you want to challenge the status quo, but because you want to ensure that you are doing the best you can to be able to arrive at the complete truth. It is important for us to look for the truth. And when we look for the truth will usually unveil itself to you. But we must go through that challenge. We must be brave enough to face the difficult questions. We must be courageous enough to face answers that might shift every single perspective that we had. But only in having shift perspectives, that's where we grow. One of the great spiritual masters of Islam, his name is Maulana Rumi, he said that imagine yourself to be a mirror, a very dirty mirror. And the only way you'll be able to see the mirror properly, this dirty mirror, is when you start wiping it, you start cleaning it. Because if not, if it's dirty, you won't be able to see your reflection, right? So he gave a similitude to finding truth like this. Like, how can you arrive at truth? When every time you scrub the mirror of your reality, you shout and complain. How can you get clean? How can you find truth? When every single time you attempt to wipe off the dirt of the mirror, you run away. Because this is the reality. Our whole life, from the time we were born until we are where we are right now, we have been experiencing the world, this world that we live in, and because of our experience, it has placed a lot of darkness, a lot of dirty things on our mirror of life to see the world it really is. And it's our quest, our challenge, that we need to uncover where are those moments, what are those black spots, where are those dirty marks, and wipe it and clean it. No one said it was easy. It can't be easy. How can arriving at reality be easy? But you must also understand that we have a supporter. And the most important thing for us is to want it. How we get there is a different story. We live that path of arriving to that moment, to the best of, to the one who has created us. We live the path of how we arrive to that clean mirror, to the one who has created us. But what do we have? We need to have the will. We need to want it. We need to put it into our hearts, the desire, the want to be able to arrive at that moment. And whenever we fall short, we ask forgiveness. Every single time that we make a mistake, that we do something wrong that we shouldn't be doing, we force ourselves to ask for forgiveness. And it's so amazing, that we look at this as, we don't really look at this much, but in the Islamic perspective, every time you make a sin, it is compulsory that you ask for forgiveness. Every single time that you need to ask for forgiveness. This is why in the Islamic faith, that one of the things that the Prophet this is why the Prophet used to make 100 and being such a person who, whenever you make a mistake or make a flaw or do something wrong, and you ask forgiveness, you realign yourself. Even though you go how far away, no matter how far you will always be able to realign yourself. And what do we want to really align to? We want to realign to this version of ourselves, the clear mirror, this version of yourself. We want to align ourselves to that person and put in our head that before I go, I want to be this peak of my existence. This existence which knows the truth and experiences the truth and is a vessel of the truth. So that's about it for today. Hope you guys appreciate that one. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you everybody for watching The Pursuit for Meaning. And if you enjoyed and appreciated what we have put out here, it will help us a lot for you guys to like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you want to join our little community we are building, the links to the Discord is in the description below. Thank you. Bye.